Have you ever wanted to be really awesome at a game, and yet no matter how hard you tried, you could never get great at it? One of those games for me is Wetrix. If you want to watch someone play the game well, then there's plenty of other videos for that. But as you watch me fail miserably to play this, let me tell you more about this classic and unique puzzle game released in 1998, which was developed by Zed 2 and published by Ocean. At the time, it was the third puzzle game released in the West on the console, and coming after Tetrisphere and Bust-A-Move 2, it had quite a high benchmark to live up to. The game was created by the Pickford brothers. They were trying to get the Zed 2 studio off the ground on the console and built a tech demo called Vampire Circus with flowing water. They liked the demo that much that they turned it into the game you see today. Quite strange when you consider that Vampire Circus was going to be a gauntlet type game, and you can actually see some of the concept artwork on the Unseen64 website. Wetrix is a game so simple, the first thought you'll have is why didn't anybody think of it sooner? With an isometric view, you are tasked with using 3 shapes to build channels, mounds to build reservoirs, and dams in order to trap water that falls from the sky. To make things complicated, pieces are falling at random, and so you're tasked with using uppers which raise the land, downers which lower it, and blobs of water which vary in size. If you're not quick or skilled enough, water will overflow from the edges of the map, and your water meter on the right hand side will fill up. When it reaches its limits, it's then game over. Whilst this does sound simple at first, like all good puzzle games, the challenge really is in the ability to keep playing for longer periods of time. It's a game about racking up a high score, and a good indication of how well you're doing is how the map will look. If you're doing a good job and building large pools of water, ducks will appear and start swimming around. When you've got enough water on the map, then rainbows will appear, and you'll also want to keep them sticking around for as long as possible. The game will also often throw you curveballs by way of earthquakes and bombs, which can either decimate your game or simply cause you minor problems that you'll need to deal with quickly. The game isn't all about punishing you though. You'll also get fireball meteors which will evaporate water on impact, and ice will freeze it to keep it in one place. The biggest negative aspect of the game isn't its steep learning curve. This is perhaps one of the toughest games to pick up and play, as the game moves at such a relentless pace even when you first start playing. The game modes are basic but do the job well. Classic Wetrix is a single player points based game. Wetrix Pro is an extremely quick mode designed for short bursts of play. Classic mode gives you a preset challenge to complete, like a limited number of pieces or a target to reach. A handicap mode lets you make the game even harder, and 2 players are also supported in a head-to-head mode. There is also the practice mode which slows the game right down, however the game never holds your hand at any point. Even in the practice mode, the game is still a challenge, and so for newcomers to the game, you'll need to spend a lot of time here to get very good. For the time, the water physics were clearly overshadowed by Wave Race. However, that's not to say the team didn't do a great job. Water flows realistically and ripples beautifully. The acid trip inspired backgrounds can be a little bit distracting at times, but you'll really need to spend a lot of time focusing on the map and where your next piece will go. The sound is also a product of its time. Personally, I really liked it, although it has a very European trance style to it, which helps you date the game quite easily to the very late 90s. Thankfully, it is in stereo, so unlike a lot of early N64 titles, it really helps the game to sound great, and the drips of water and other effects are also surprisingly sharp. If you're a puzzle game fan, then I hope that you've already heard of Wetrix. There is a superior version which was released on the Dreamcast called Wetrix Plus, and that's the best version to play. It has improved graphics and a better soundtrack as well as additional game modes. But for us N64 fans, this really is a unique title. Sure, the gameplay can be repetitive, but I want to know if you checked this game out back in the day. It received generally positive reviews, but looking at it in magazines it may have put you off, as each of the screenshots would probably have looked very similar. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section down below, and until next time.